everybody, welcome back to my channel. Glad to see you here again. Today I have a very special guest with me, Mayshing. She's actually an anime character and she will be telling us about her career in art. I hope you enjoy. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Mayshing. I'm
Thanks
so
for inviting
excited
me.
to. Yeah, thank you so much. It's the first time I'm having an anime character, so this is super exciting.
This is my second time. uh,
Yay!
I really need to make a tutorial for my own channel. It's like how to become an anime character
Yeah, how
on
to.
camera.
I need that. I'm sorry I'm not able to get it working today, but I'd love to try that sometime. Well, so I know you're an anime character, but I know in real life you actually make anime, right? So I wanted to
Yes.
talk to you a little bit about just how you got started, your journey in art, because
Oh.
I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people want to get into it, right? I think way back
Mm-hmm.
then, like many years ago, probably, when we were younger, people didn't really know too much about anime.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
I think it's become much more mainstream and it's really become more of a career path for people.
Yes.
Not that it wasn't before, but it's just, I think because of the visibility of the medium,
Mm-hmm.
more and more young people are interested. And I'm sure there's a big variety, whether it's drawing or digital or video games, it's just like a huge market too. So I'd love to kind of hear about your journey, maybe just to get started, like how you got into art, and then we'll go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Okay. Well, my journey actually started from wanting to be a comic artist as a young student. My decision came at age 9 that I want to be a comic artist after I read all the comics. And as for how I got here to become a VTuber, that's like this is called becoming an anime character on on streams and screens. It's called VTubers, virtual YouTubers. That's where it started from. It started from Kitsuna Ai. She was a 3D character that's voiced and then becomes and then it got big with Hololive and a few other idol groups turning anime characters into idols on screen and YouTube and all that. And then it became a trend. So that's how I turned into a VTuber. I started as wanting to be a comic artist. And then around age 13, I really admired Miyazaki's work. So I wanted to become an anime director. And then in college, I mean, I was fortunate enough that my parents allowed me to go to a specialized college, private college for animation. But now you actually don't need to. You can kind of skip that and just like learn from YouTube tutorials and just work your way up to. That's fine. Um, the I went to an animation college, School of Visual Arts in New York City, and then from there I got all the needed animation skill to continue my career in a sense, but to really build on career and create um, a customer space, it's really being an artist today is really like being an entrepreneur. It's not very different. It's really entrepreneurship, and except what you're selling is your art and your art skills. You have to learn a little bit about law, contract making. You have to also learn a little bit about business, how to run a business. You know, at least for one person operation, that's the minimum. You have to learn how to fill out your Schedule C, your tax return.
It's all the boring
Don't
stuff, right?
Yeah, you kind of have to do all that, yeah. And it is really advisable that, and also like, of course, you for your own future, you have to learn about investing and all that stuff. Yeah. But artists generally, what we can do is we can easily create passive income with our artwork.
Hmm.
There is you can create emails, you can create online digital assets like the cup here. And the assets here that I'm using is actually a digital assets that's provided for free by other artists, but they will sell other additional ones, you know. Then you can easily create a passive income. And also the background behind me is also a stock art that you can also sell those, you know, if you become an artist. And the thing is, the art world is pretty competitive. You have the whole world to compete with, and you have to establish yourself on social media as early as possible. And the social media platforms do die. I have been on social media for more than 20 years. So do not just get too complacent on one social media platform. Definitely try out the new ones as they are popping up. As soon as there's something that's like really trendy that everybody went on there, you better go. At least set up a camp. You know, if you don't want to use it, set up a camp. You know, like for example, I didn't want to use TikTok. Like I really wasn't a TikTok fan. You know, I'm more of a Twitter fan, and it's also TikTok was so noisy. It's like you can't turn off the sound at all unless you turn off the your phone sound entirely. You know. So, but the thing is, TikTok is now the gold mine for all the indies, you know, like indies, meaning independent people. The indies, especially indie games and VTubers as well. So it's kind of like you gotta be there. It's
I
like
see.
that's where the audience is. That's where the money is. You know, whenever there's a crowd gathering, there is money. And you want to establish yourself on those platforms as fast as possible and put out and have consistent output. Like the YouTube game, like we have so many games that we have to do, like so many grinds that we have to do every day. It's like TikTok, ideally you want to upload one video per day, YouTube one video a week, you know, like it's just endless. And webcomic is, if you do webcomic, is once a week is the best, you know, and do it on weekdays, you know, things like that. As an artist, uh, as an artist or indie game developer, you want to take advantage of weekdays, boring days where people want to look for something fun. So
That's a lot of great
avoid
advice.
holiday seasons, you know. Huh? What?
That's great advice. I never thought about it that way before.
Yeah, if you want to run any fundraising, you know, that avoid holiday seasons, avoid big holidays, New Year's, definitely avoid them. And also, back to school is okay because back to school is like the day people dread.
They're
Like,
looking
as
for
soon as
something
they
else,
dread
right?
their responsibility, you got a room to come in. Yep.
So, Meishin, can you tell us a little bit about like the different types of art that you make? Like, do you make traditional art or is it digital art? Is it anime?
Oh
Do you
yeah,
also
there's
write
so
like
many.
comic strips or do you make
Yeah, yeah.
videos? Like, do you do everything or do you specialize?
Well, I'm a generalist in visual arts, but I am specializing in mostly 2D art and anime related arts. Like I won't really go and do a cartoony art as much. I have some cartoony arts, but it's not my specialization.
Mhm.
Um, and the good thing is anime is fairly popular, so it's very easy for me to find customer space as anime. Yeah.
I
And
see.
right now the trending style is like anything that looks like Final Fantasy 7 is good, you know?
And then do you work with video as well?
Yes, I do also video editing. I also do comics. I have two running web comics. One is almost ending. I
Mhm.
actually finished it. Like it's a sci-fi action called Death's Angel. And then the other one that I'm promoting right now is Two Masters, a fantasy adventure. And then there is a third one, which I think some Asian Americans might be interested in, is and well, anybody want to learn Chinese, I guess, is Mystic Shenchu is a fantasy, historical fantasy.
Oh,
It's
cool.
related to, yeah, you guys might be interested in that. It's basically, is about two middle school students from Taiwan got stuck in the ancient ghost China. The only way they can survive, I mean, the only way they can get into unending dream, like kind of a dream that keeps on going.
Hmm.
It's like it's like a world with all the calligraphers. So
Oh,
there will
okay.
be historical calligrapher figures, as well as basic history of Chinese basic history, because calligraphy you cannot not talk about history.
Hmm.
And then also basic Chinese letter learning for the English version, and
That's really
Chinese
cool.
poetry.
That
Yeah,
sounds
it's
like a
gonna
fun
kill
way
me.
for kids to learn about Chinese culture and a little bit of the language
Yes,
too.
yes, that's my goal with that series. I have two versions. I have an English version and a Chinese version.
Oh,
The
okay.
Chinese version is to learn about the Chinese history, the calligraphy itself, and
Hmm.
the English version included Chinese learning as well, basic Chinese learning, like letters. Yeah,
That's really nice. So we'll definitely link those in the description below. Definitely
thank you.
love to promote those for sure.
And that's my three comics, which I'm
Mhm.
probably not. I don't know if I'll do any more comics after that. I'm gonna go into game production heavily
Oh.
after I finish them.
Hmm.
And I want to. Currently, I'm doing 2D game, which is like a dating sim, like a dating sim game more for adults. But I will have a family-friendly version. And
Hmm.
then the default version will be family-friendly. The adult version, they will have to go and download extra stuff.
Okay.
um,
Like the bonus stuff.
because the romance genre, like visual novel, I'm doing visual novel, and the visual novel only have two genre that do well. One is mystery, like Phoenix Wright and stuff. Like Phoenix Wright is actually count as visual novel, but also adventure game,
Hmm.
which the mystery type, someone always have to die. And I don't
Oh,
really feel like doing that anymore. So um I went to the romance part, which I'm actually more comfortable with. But romance part, a lot of the customers want the adult content.
I
So,
see.
which is like love scenes and things like that. Yeah, to
Sure.
replace their, like, sort of to satisfy their romance craving. Yeah,
That makes sense.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I will have two versions. One is family friendly, another one is adult, for adult enjoyment. Yeah.
I see.
And after that, I'm thinking to turn my game into adventure simulation. No, no, more like a sandbox, like Minecraft. But Minecraft is a great sandbox game, but it's more like a sandbox simulation RPG, I guess, because the I want to give a game that can serve as a platform for people who are creative,
I
for people
see.
who want to bring their own characters, who want to write their own story and share with others and have their own games in a sense, but can't really do it. That's my target audience. And
Mhm.
and also it's something that I want to do for myself, that I can bring my own characters into other people's worlds in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
And
really
that,
interesting.
yeah, the new game that I mean, the 3D version that I'm planning right now is just planning. It's gonna be, I'm gonna do some fundraising after the 2D version as well. The 2D version also have its own fundraising. For 2D version, I'm just doing the story and the basic simulation. So, and the 3D version, we will take the story and the simulation and then expand on that and add in all the other gameplay and functions. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know, like, how does the industry work? So it
Oh,
sounds like you're doing a lot of it just independently. Now,
yes.
what's the industry like? Like, are there bigger companies out there that you can pitch your ideas to? Do you
Yes.
like choose to not do that, or is that just really difficult?
For me, my situation is a little bit trickier because I would like to retain my IP,
Mm,
and most of these companies want to own your IP.
I see.
Like and for my game production, I mean webcomic production, they definitely want to own your IP most of the time.
Hmm.
And once I don't, I'm already on them. Like for example, Tapas, or I mean Webtoon technically want to own it, but only when you sign a deal with them. So it's not too bad if you upload to Webtoon Canvas.
Hmm.
And thing is, a lot of these companies, I see my IP as very precious to me.
Mhm.
And it's not something that I can easily replace, especially if I give away my 20 years of development stuff. So
Mhm.
if you want my IP, you have to pay at least $250 million for me to let go. I did a calculation about that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I calculated it's like if I'm gonna let go of my IP, how much do I actually, I mean, and not be able to ever use it again on
Mhm.
my own decision,
Yeah.
then how much do I want? You know, then it's
Yeah.
at
So
least
it's like a
250 million.
decision. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a decision that each artist would make for themselves, right?
Yeah. The reason, honestly, my IP hasn't really made 250 million, so I doubt anybody is gonna like dish out that money and say, "Hey, I'm gonna buy it." No, so it's definitely not happening right now. What happens with I learned this from an investor. What happens is like they look at your IP, like your intellectual property, which is your art,
Mhm.
whatever your art is. They will look at what you generated last time, like
Mhm.
your last record of your fundraising, your last record of publishing, your last record of whatever, your sales.
Mhm.
And then they times like maybe 5 times that. And
Okay.
that's the amount they will invest in.
I
They
see.
have a tier thingy. Like so if you make 1 million, they probably gonna give you 5 million, you know.
Right.
Yeah. If you make 100,000, then they can time five that, like maybe 2 million. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Or 2 times that, it all depends on the investor themselves. But
Right.
the thing is, the investors, like because in the game industry, we actually talk about this a lot with the independent developers. The
Mhm.
investors or the publishers, whatever they are doing, when they give you their money, they are looking for a passive income. They
Mhm.
want something that can grow legs, that can be their cash cow. I mean, it's totally understandable. It's like they are treating it like a stock.
Mhm.
So unless you can treat your work like a stock to be discarded at any moment, you may want to really think about that,
Mhm.
basically. Like
Yeah.
emotionally, is it worth that little to you or is it worth that much to you? Like whatever they're offering. Never offer your IP for like a employee job unless you feel like your IP is okay to sell as a product, just purely as a product.
Right.
Like a lot of artists I know, we develop our work, but it's not just a piece of item. It's not
Mhm.
just item. It's not just a product. It's also something that is deeply tied to our emotional self and being and our family. So it's not purely a product. Unless you develop an IP as a pure product, then you can just let go, right? No, it's kind of like a job. You have to
Right.
see it as a job. They will always treat it as a job. They don't
Right.
care if you burn. They don't care really if you have to pull overnight and get sick and die. They really don't. They really don't. Especially the game industry is so famous for doing that.
Mhm.
A lot of AA companies, they don't have good reputation among us, the developers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So,
see.
but you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot going there. I mean, I've seen too many friends that got burned out from being in the commercial industry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah, because I think a lot of people think, oh, like being an artist is just gonna be like having fun, drawing pictures all the time, like it's very different than the reality.
Oh, they really just treat you like, I don't know. It's no different from being a very skilled janitor, I gotta say.
So can I ask, so like I'm sure that, in your journey of 20 years of being an artist, you must have accomplished a lot and also went through a lot of challenges. Like what are some of the most like toughest times that you had to overcome?
Oh, toughest times. It would be like you put your all into developing something, and then it looks like it's gonna take off, and then you come down crashing.
Oh.
That would be one of the toughest times. Yeah. Like I got signed with two publishers, and each of them died within a year,
Oh no.
and that's a big letdown. And then yeah, I definitely had to overcome some depression coming from there because you
Mhm.
work so hard, and then when you sign with a publisher, you have to work extra hard because you have to keep up with demands
Yeah.
and pull out a certain amount each month, and then only for them to come down crashing like 6 months later or something like that. Yeah, it's
Mm.
it-
Oh.
it's like yeah. And right now, I am very skeptical of publishers. I'm very skeptical of platforms because
Mm.
they come and go, and you sometimes if okay, this is a warning. One of the I mean, a lot of indies don't like big publishers, don't like big companies, and I am no exception. Um, it's not like they're evil or anything, but they have their way of doing things that we don't like. That's why we're indie, you know.
Mhm.
Um, uh, it's also if you go to a big commercial industry company, don't think that you will do anything creative
Mm.
because anything big like that, they have to play the safest game.
Mhm.
They always have to play with what's already out there, what's already established, what's already selling. They will
Mhm.
not let you explore. Like, don't
Mhm.
even think about exploring. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're just doing what they did before, and pray that
Yeah.
you don't have somebody that's a jerk in the crew and screw things up for you.
Oh no.
Medium-sized company tend to be the best
Mhm.
when it comes to getting a job. Like, go to a medium-sized company that's not 1,000 employees. If you
Mhm.
want to go to 1,000 employee companies, be an IT or something like that. That's when the job is more established. You're doing pure technical stuff. They have the flow and whatnot. And it's a little bit, and it's very stable. It's got crap, but it's very stable pay. But there's always that crunch time. There's always that sleepless nights. Like being an artist is kind of similar in a sense.
Mhm.
But in a big company, you don't. I mean, being IT, you don't have to be creative. But being an artist, you want to be creative. And so
Mhm.
going to that kind of company when you want to be a creative person is kind of like uh, a setback. I guess. But
Yeah,
you
that
can
makes a
go
lot of
there and really
sense.
sharpen your skill.
Mhm.
I have seen a lot of friends who they go in and they come out, their skills go way up. Like their skill level go way up on certain aspect of things. Like for
Yeah,
example, if you go in to be a 3D modeler, you come out a really good 3D modeler. If you go
I
in
see.
as an animator, as an animatic storyteller person, you come out really, really good as a storyteller and storyboard person. So you can go in and sharpen your skill if you want.
Mhm.
Like in the indie world, however, the indie world, we don't sharpen the skill as much. It's like individual choices.
Mhm.
And you have to wear a lot of hats and do a variety of things. So you kind of have to switch hats a lot. And
Yeah,
that means you become a generalist instead of a specialist.
I see. That's a
So
really
if you
good.
want to become a specialist and be really good at a certain skill, go into a company and get hired, you don't have to worry about your paycheck. But if you like variety, you like your own creative vision, um, you don't mind wearing different hats and facing some challenges on your own, then be an indie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting perspective. I was just thinking as you were talking that, my experience working as an engineer, right? It's actually very similar in a big
Mm-hmm.
company, like for engineering, there's a lot of people want to be creative with that as well, and it is hard, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to hear that that's same, with art because you think of art as
Mm-hmm.
being very innovative, like obviously like very
Yeah.
creative, right? But it sounds interesting that, it becomes a skill too at a certain point because it is the innovation, but the bigger companies maybe they don't want to take the risk as much, right?
No, they don't want to. I mean, you see, like each of the project, the bigger the project is, the more money it is in it, the
Hmm.
less risk they want to take.
Right.
That's just normal human nature.
Yeah,
So
that
if you
makes
want to take risks, go to a medium size or small size project, or even start your own project. That's where you get to take the most risk and have the most creative vision. Risk and
yeah,
creative vision seem to go hand in hand. Yeah.
right. So what would you say to the student, right? Maybe like a high school or college student who really
Mm,
want to go into art. Like what would
mm.
be your advice for that person? Like would you say, you know, don't do art because it's too hard, or because I think there's a lot of pushback from society, right? And you mentioned too sometimes from family members to say, oh, art like it's so hard to make money. What would you say to that person who's really want to go into art but maybe are having these pressures?
Yeah, family pressure is always really, really hard. Um, but down to the end of it, family pressure is all about money. It's like, can
Mm-hmm.
you make money with this? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would suggest is start when they are not giving you that pressure. Like start early, especially if you're independent artist. If you, I mean, everybody who start out as a minor have to be independent anyway.
Sure.
As soon as you pass 13, I mean, you can start your own social media account. Um, start a social media account, start posting your art, talk to other artists, like talk to people like you, like talk to small people. Don't just admire big people. Like big people don't have time to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way, this is like my motto. This is what happened to me before I encountered internet. And the same principles still apply for people who live with internet, like grew up on internet, is make friends with people who have similar interests, and form a network of people who share the same interest, and just talk to them and befriend them first on social media and while you're sharing your work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, invite feedbacks, especially if you get stuck somewhere, always invite feedbacks and how to improve your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
um, like I know a lot of artists are very, including myself, are very sensitive to critiques and critical feedback.
Yeah.
But when you get stuck, that's the best time to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another advice is don't put out your work too early for feedback. Like get it more than halfway through, then go and get feedback, so your vision doesn't get changed completely. Because
Mm-hmm.
people will have their own idea of how your piece should be when they give feedbacks. Then your
Then
piece
you
is
get
completely
lost.
become something else. Yeah,
Oh
that's just
yeah.
a very, very common problem. Yeah. Okay, that's the first two steps, right? You go and establish yourself on social media, like whether TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, right? It doesn't matter. Just pick something. Facebook. I know people don't use Facebook. Young people don't use Facebook lately. I don't use Facebook. Oh, Facebook, you got really screwed up. Anyway, like page was fine. Facebook page was fine until they screwed it up. But anyway, so much rent with different platforms. Um, anyway, pick a platform you like, and start on there. Post your art, post every day or every week, be stable. And then you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn what works, what doesn't work. And don't get too down about it when people don't check you out. Check other people out first, you know. That when you support others, other people will support you too. Like not everybody's gonna support back, but a lot of people will.
Mm-hmm.
So just make friends, support others, and others will support you. And on top of that, be very critical with your work. You want to, because you want to be competitive. Because our world is a dream job.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those jobs that's not. It technically is essential, but it's not super essential. It's not like food. It's not like electricity. It's one of those like more like a second tier job. Like it's outside of survival.
Right.
It's the industry to improve your life, to like kill time with. So just kind of have to keep that in mind. People are looking at your work to kill time, to like escape their reality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to it's also you have to think about not just yourself, but also your audience, but also not to forget yourself. It's a very, very delicate balance, you know.
Yeah.
Now you can't think too much for your audience because you're gonna lose yourself in that. You can't think only for yourself because you're gonna lose your audience.
So
So
it
you
has
have
to
to
be a
have both.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you make a channel, like say that you make a channel on TikTok or YouTube, be aware of what you're putting out because that's gonna be your branding and it's gonna get you stuck there. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, my I got my channel famous on tutorials and anime. So now I'm kind of stuck there. I can't do anything else other than tutorial and short films with my
Oh,
channel. If I want to do something new like the VTubers thing, I have to make a new channel
right. Mm-hmm.
because because currently the market is very saturated with content.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're competing with everybody else. So like the the because it's so saturated with content, people have no time for you. Their attention span is like 1 minute per video, unless you can somehow keep their engagement.
Right.
Oh God, you have to impress them within the first 2 seconds. Everybody is like a Hollywood interviewer, you know. Yeah, yeah. So you have to come in with a bang. Don't save your best stuff to the last. Put your best stuff in the first 2 seconds, basically, if you can.
Oh,
And
right.
put your best overview for the short. Put your best overview within the first minute because people are gonna lose interest, and then like put a hook at the end of that first minute or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mayshing, how
recently people are talking faster and faster too because the viewers are not like not really having that much attention span.
wow, that's so
Yeah, so
amazing.
you pretty much have to do something weird or something outrageous or something or just keep their attention. Everybody's attention is like a baby right now.
That's crazy. It's a little bit scary to think about how the world has come to, right?
Yeah. And so yeah, that's what I'm finding. And a lot of very experienced VTubers, I mean, and YouTubers, they have found ways in their own style, in their own way to keep people's attention.
Right.
Um, Music don't have to struggle with that because if your music quality is good, they will listen for hours and hours. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to output stuff, and a lot of people will be playing that music on their YouTube and stuff. So YouTube is a very good platform for music, but
Oh. Mm-hmm.
be careful how you advertise on each platform because each platform have to use their own content. They don't like to use other platforms content. So if you just do storing links and stuff, don't expect people will engage basically.
Right.
Like each platform has their own homework that you have to do as a content creator. Establish yourself on a social media platform as soon as possible when you have no financial pressure. Um, so high schoolers, get on it. Just start your own account if you haven't already. You probably already have one. Anyways, you can start your artist account or you can use your current account and just start posting your stuff. And then secondly, talk to other creators, talk to other creative people and learn about social. And third is know about entrepreneurship. As soon as you are talking with other creators, you're going to learn about that very, very naturally because everybody is going like, how do I promote my stuff? More people can see me, like 99%, I tell you. So the quickest way for you to get big is two ways, I guess. One is do popular stuff. Pretty much is do fan art. Basically do stuff that other people care about. Like for example, if everybody's playing a certain kind of game, like or everybody likes a certain show, and you do fan art of that, and people search it up, then you get seen. That's
I
one
see.
way.
Mm-hmm.
The other way is by promoting other people, like
Mm,
promoting people like yourself, and be that person, network person that everybody likes to talk to.
I
That's
see.
another way to promote yourself. Then your work gets seen very quickly. But you have to be good. Otherwise, people don't care, really. Because okay, be very honest, like everybody is so used to very high tier level art right
Mm-hmm.
now. Like everybody is so used to the 5-star, 4-star, 5-star art and graphics right now.
Mm-hmm. The
So
standard is so high,
yeah,
right?
standard is really high. So whatever you like yourself, make sure that you can please yourself, whatever you are outputting,
Mm-hmm.
and do and try to do a step beyond that. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever that makes you happy, that you go like, oh, this is my 100, do 120 or something. Like
Oh wow.
look a level above you, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
and try to reach there. Yeah, always be looking at the next level. It's kind of like game grinding, like you grind, you're like, oh, I'm level 20 now. Okay, look toward level 40, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, just think
That's
of it that
true.
way so you don't get too discouraged. I'm
Yeah.
still grinding.
Well, I'm sure you've gotten so much better now compared to before, right? Do you ever look at your art from like years ago and you're like, oh, I've definitely improved?
Yep, yep, yep. I still have a lot to grind. In fact, I have so much to learn. I think I will learn. I have no problem learning until like what, I'm 60, 70, no problem, I guess. Learning keeps you young anyway. Okay, so the next step will be after you establish yourself on social media, talk to people, and learn to sharpen your skills. The next step is cover your butts for legal stuff and
Right.
money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are customers that will take advantage of you. But
Mm-hmm.
after you establish yourself, people are going to start asking, oh, can you do free art for me? Can you do
Oh, okay.
requests?
I
At first, you
see.
can do a few when you are just starting.
Yeah,
And then eventually you want to move on to I take commissions.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when you first start making money with art.
Yeah,
Get yourself a PayPal account or Stripe, whatever, or a shop set up, like e-commerce set up. I mean, this is when you need to be like 18-year old,
right.
um,
Or
and
maybe the
then
parents can help you set it up, right? If you're a
yeah, yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
younger. Yeah.
If your parent is supportive, you definitely can get that set up earlier. And YouTube is a little bit more difficult. You have to have a channel that has more than 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours.
Right. That's a lot.
They used to not be that strict, but now they are stricter. They are like, oh, we want to make sure your channel is actually active and people actually like your stuff before we advertise on your stuff. Like,
Right.
yeah, before we advertise with you. Now the standard is higher, but you can go to Twitch. Twitch is like 50 people, 3 viewers average. Then you can start making subs, sub
Oh,
money.
interesting.
But they
Okay.
take 40%. They take more than YouTube. YouTube takes 30. I think Twitch take 45%. Everybody take a share anyway. Or you can just sell on Amazon, whatever. Amazon also doesn't care whatever you want to put up. Yeah. But the
Wow.
thing is, they use traditional publisher deals, so whatever you put up is exclusively theirs for distribution rights. But you can take
Oh.
it down if you want. But if they save it on their server and then you want to sign up with a third party and they go no, then you're like poop. This all this IP stuff is pretty complicated. It's
Yeah,
basically everybody want to own your IP, and you have to somehow determine how much worth, like how much protection you want to give to your IP.
right.
But some
Right.
people are overprotective though, like say like they won't share anything online, like I'm like if you nobody knows who you are, what you do, nothing about your project, how are they going to give you anything?
You have to share some
You
of
have
it.
to take some
Yeah.
risk. Yeah, you have to be willing to share. Yeah. The
Right.
most protected people I've ever seen are writers and coders.
Mm.
They are very, very protective of their stuff, but their stuff is also the easiest to steal. That's why,
Right.
because letters are very easy to copy and paste.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Art, art. Recently, the big NFT community like to steal art a lot.
Mhm.
I've gotten my art stolen.
Oh, really?
People have gotten their art stolen. The bigger you are, the more people steal your art. You just
Wow.
got to get used to it. And sometimes the thieves is from overseas. You can't do anything about it.
Wow. What do you
Like
mean
there
by
is one
steal it?
case
Like
where
they
this one
steal it and
person,
then they
yeah,
say it's theirs?
huh?
How do they steal it? Like they just copy paste it?
You just save your file from internet and then turn it into a
Oh,
print item, a
oh,
product,
I
or
see.
even go and sell it on OpenSea, the NFT shop as a digital product,
Oh, wow.
without your consent. Is one of the most annoying thing to deal with. Yeah, it's a very
Are you
common
are saying
issue.
like some it's happened to somebody?
Oh, it happened all over the place. That's why artists hate NFT communities right now.
Oh, wow.
But NFT community is like a new trend of like what are they? They're not exactly cryptocurrency, but they are kind of like cryptocurrency, like
Mhm.
it's almost like in-game currency turned into like linked to cryptocurrency. Ay, ay, ay. There's a lot of NFT games that's like trading, like that's linked to cryptocurrency that people can play to earn. So that's
Oh,
really big right now.
okay.
Um, and but then there's also a section. I mean, not everybody. I mean, some of the NFTs are legit. Like they
Mhm.
are. There is legit investment, legit money in there.
Mhm.
There's some platform that runs on that. That's fine. Like I'm on Minds.com. Minds is a legit platform like that.
Yeah.
Um, then you can definitely play to earn, But
Interesting.
any NFT games have their own little problems because it involves any game involving real money economy is going
Yeah.
to have their little problem, because
Yeah.
players are going to try their best to exploit the system to get as much money out of it as possible. The developer is going to try to restrict that as much as possible so they don't lose their money into like a sinkhole wallet, like wallet
Mhm.
sinkhole or something like that.
Right.
So, oh, that's a whole other thing that artists have
Mhm.
to deal with.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. But I'm
Yeah,
also curious, like, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, so there's the artist part, right? And then,
Mm,
like, with the comic strips or the web comic,
hmm.
there's also the story part, right?
There's so
So I'm
many.
just, yeah, I'm curious, like, that must take a lot of skill because you're not only just like creating the art, but you also coming up with the story too.
Story is honestly a very difficult thing to judge. Like writer communities can probably tell you what's a good story and what's a bad story. I never really bother with that. I just make stories I really want to make.
Mhm.
Um, I guess if I really want to be, I can be a fairly critical judge on writing as well. But I'm trying not to do that because I'm already so critical on so many different things. So I say, okay, if you want to be a writer, a novelist, that's a very difficult path because unlike art, visual arts, writing and words is a little bit less intuitive for people. So it's a little bit, your audience is a little bit smaller. It's a niche audience. There are some platforms like Tabas let you upload your novel, and Amazon now let you upload your novel,
Mhm.
and you can sell as digital downloads and stuff like that. You can get money each month. That's like the fastest way to get some money. And a lot of novelists I know host their novel on their own site, like a WordPress or something like that. You
Okay.
can also do it on Patreon and other things. Like the people, usually novelists get their notoriety from doing fanfic. That's the first step. It's the same. It's like do something popular. This is like rule number one.
So I'm
Um,
just curious, like as an artist though,
hmm.
like it's not just the art part, right? Like you draw the comic, but you also come up with a story. So do you think that's required now? Like in terms of like being an artist? Like what if you're
Oh,
an artist who, really have no idea about stories, right? Like
oh,
is
if you
that
want
is
to
it
be pure
possible?
illustrator, or
Yeah,
honestly, it's not hard to come up with your own story. A lot of illustrators also do that.
I
They just
see.
don't do big, gigantic stories like web comic artists may do.
I see.
Um, Webcomic artists right now, the meta game is share your story for free and then do bonus stuff on your paywall, like Patreon or coffee.com and stuff like that to
Mhm.
get backers. And I do like like a whole chapter in advance for my readers because I don't do anything that's like not safe for work. A lot of people like to bag not safe for work stuff. Yeah. If they get like right now, honestly, the webcomic industry, they're trying to bring back the shonen action stuff again, but most of the readers are girls, female dominant readers.
Oh,
So if you want to go into webcomic, I suggest do romance. You will do better than doing non-romance. Non-romance is a little bit harder to make it out there. Oh yeah, artists who want to just do creative, decorative art, I would call them, that
mm-hmm.
doesn't involve stories, you
Yeah.
can turn them into products. You can, it's
Oh,
very easy nowadays. Just find a print shop online and do your customized product.
mm-hmm.
Like fistuprints.com, or you can even find your own if you get big enough, you can get your own factory, in China and
Oh,
just
wow.
commission them. But before that, you can start small. If you have like what $4,000 or $5,000 to put in, you can do a factory stuff already.
Oh, wow.
But if you are starting small with a few $100s or less than that, you can do print on demand. And print on
Mm-hmm.
demand products, they are more expensive
Mm-hmm.
and harder to sell because they
Yeah.
each individual product is going to be like quite expensive
Mm-hmm.
because they're small quantity. But you can start from there and get like Zippo.com, or there's quite a lot of shops that also allow you to sell your product after you print them.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your own T-shirt, you can make your own canvas prints, you can make your own bags, you can make your own mugs. You can make a ton of merchandise just from your art. But selling
Wow.
is your job.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I mean, I've explored some of those websites as well,
yeah,
and it's like it's pretty easy to upload your artwork
yes,
out there. But I think the hard part is for people to actually find it, right?
yep.
So if you
That's
already have
marketing.
a, yeah, if you already have a following, then you
Exactly.
can
That's why I
do
say
that.
establish yourself quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's they call it drip marketing, as in like you do it slowly, build in increments day by day.
Yeah.
Um, if you do your homework and do your grind, eventually it will build up. You
Mm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
the most down the one sucky thing that I have to face is that I have built up a decent following on certain websites, and then that website went cold
Oh
or
no.
went down. Then
Mm-hmm.
it's like restart.
Oh
You have to
no.
restart on another platform and another like 1 or 2 years before you are a decent size. It's really annoying.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is why you want friends, because once you have friends in the same community, you all move to the same platform together and you signal boost each other to the yeah, you signal boost each other, then you can build up a following much faster that way.
I see.
Like
Yeah.
say if you have 20 friends like in the same community, and you all move to the next platform, like say TikTok, like me with my Legion friends from the indie developers. And then you start posting, nobody's there but them, and they will like your stuff. You
Yeah.
like each other's stuff, give each other 20 likes. Then it's TikTok's going like, oh, you're popular. You're just brand new, but you're popular. Okay, let me boost your stuff like that. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's why I make friends.
That's awesome. So you must have friends from all over the world, right?
Yeah, I have friends in so many different communities right now. I have webcomic friends, I have indie developer friends, indie game friends, I have VTuber friends, I have it's like fans from back then that see my comics, yeah, things like that. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to keep up with all of them, but you kind of just have to drop in once in a while, then check in on them and do it weekly. If you participate the same events, Twitter has weekly events that we do to signal boost one another. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's so great.
You
Yeah.
have to find the right hashtag on Twitter though. Yeah, for indie video developers, we have Screenshot Saturday, Follow Friday. We abuse the heck out of it. So yeah, that's the marketing side. The marketing side is honestly one of the most challenging parts. That's why you want to start early and build up your audience. Then then you can finally do your products. It's the building the audience that take the longest. And when you borrow from other people who are famous, doing stuff based on their stuff, like say like the most popular show, the celebrity and whatnot, they pay their dues. They pay millions of dollars to get that.
Mm.
So it's kind of a privilege that we can borrow it. They can really hunt us down if they want to,
Well, by
based on
doing that, I think
copyright.
you also promote that whatever show it is too, right?
Yes, yes. A lot of them kind of let you do it because it's also promoting them. Yeah.
Right.
But you have to also be careful on which company you pick because like don't pick Nintendo and don't pick Disney. They are really, really popular, but they are also one of the most famous hunters you can find.
Right.
You can do Disney if you are like do it in a very different style, like your own style that's really different and stuff, you know.
Okay.
But Disney and all these like really big companies, they have a lot of competition. A lot of people do their artwork and stuff. So
Right.
I suggest pick something second tier that's a little bit less famous, but people are looking for it, you know.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit of time to determine. You can start from what you like, and then find if you find if you find that you're having a hard time to find what you like, uh, to find artwork for a show you like or something like that, or a game you like, just do it yourself.
Yeah, this is all great tips. I mean, definitely sounds like you need a lot of perseverance and a lot of consistency, which
Oh
I think
yes,
is really hard.
it is hard.
Especially we talked about, people have very short attention spans now,
Mm-hmm.
but like as a creator, you have to be so disciplined.
Yes, it's like if you also have to watch for creative burnout. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Oh yeah, the final step is watch your health, like
Mm,
don't burn out.
yeah.
Make sure that you're always setting time for yourself to take breaks. Once you start doing all the previous steps I mentioned, you will find yourself working all the time.
Right.
And when you are working all the time and you're not seeing results, like audience being built up or things being like favors being returned and whatnot, you can get very discouraging.
Right.
And then you might hit that moment that you want to stop.
Hmm.
Like that's the moment to ask yourself is how important is this for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's really important for you, like sometimes maybe you will hate people because people sometimes get really mean
Hmm.
with this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
feedback wise, you know. And especially if you're a VTuber and you turn yourself into some kind of celebrity, after you grow past a certain size, people think that they can abuse you.
Oh.
They
Hmm.
can just say whatever. I mean, the magical number seems to be 20,000 people. Once you have like more than 20,000 following, you're not human anymore.
Oh
They'll just
no.
dump whatever the heck they want to dump on you.
Oh no.
You have to deal with that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, some people like to use the ban hammer and just bang them, like ban them from like mute them, ban them, just block
Oh
them, don't see them.
yeah.
And others will like highlight it and make a joke out of them, and others will make highlight it and complain about them. All depends on how you want to deal with it. You
Wow.
have the power when you have so many followings.
Hmm.
And people also will do stupid stuff or crazy stuff, will say crazy things to you to try to get your attention once you get past a certain stage. Yeah. So those are later stuff you will have to worry about, but you will start with probably 30 followers of your, if you're lucky with your friends and family.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then, yeah. So, and also, oh, be careful because like some people, they will, because they want to gain a following quickly, they will do something that seems to be very popular but has nothing related to their final product.
Oh.
The audience will not overlay if you don't plan carefully. Like say, okay, I want to sell my stuff, but I end up doing Sonic fan art would be an
Mhm.
unwise decision for me, even though I like Sonic,
Mhm.
because my stuff look nothing like Sonic.
It's too
Yeah,
different, right?
too different. You want it to be 80%, 90% similar.
I see.
Yeah, if you borrow something famous, pick something that's 80, 90% similar to your stuff. That's the
Mm.
best way to transition your audience from seeing the other popular stuff to your stuff. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your time.
Right. That makes sense. Wow. Well, thank you so much. This is so great. I hope that our viewers are got a lot out of this, especially the young people. I
I
think,
hope they sit
uh,
through this.
yeah, yeah. It's like maybe after they watch this, they're like, oh, never mind. I'm gonna go be a lawyer now. You
I
know?
don't know. I mean, artists are a certain breed. They become want to become artists because they really cannot see themselves doing anything else but art.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people like that. And if you tell them to don't do anything else, you're gonna like kill their soul or something.
Right. Right. Is that how you feel? Do you think like it was always like that for you?
Yeah,
Well,
that's why
awesome.
I don't wanna do. I honestly don't want to do anything else but be a content creator. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much. Thank you for such good advice, and I hope we have inspired more young artists. So,
Yeah, it's not an easy journey, but it's a fulfilling one, I guess.
thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this interview. For more interviews like this, please subscribe to this channel and give me a thumbs up, a like, and leave your comments down below. Hope to see you next time.